Hi, this is Mary, and welcome to another episode of A Woman Full of Soul. Today, I have Colleen with me, who I know through my time as a director of youth faith formation and religious education at a parish that I used to work at. And she helped with the classes there with the youth that I was overseeing. And I really wanted to have her on the show today because she has such an amazing life experience and because she's really an inspiring person in the classroom and outside of the classroom. So, Colleen, can you please tell everyone what you do, what your normal day looks like, what you do every day?
Well, every day I'm in charge of 35 little souls in my classroom. I teach fifth grade at St. Thomas Aquinas School in Fairfield, Connecticut. So I teach them all the basics of reading, writing, spelling, grammar, all that good stuff, and social studies. And I love it. They're hysterical and they make me laugh every day.
What is most fulfilling to you about teaching?
I think seeing those aha light bulb moments, whether it's little moments of, oh, I finally get why you wanted me to change this sentence in my essay, or I finally get this concept in social studies that you're trying to teach me. Um, or even just having small conversations with them and explaining something about life to them, and they're like, oh, now I get it.
What's one of your craziest moments in the classroom? Like, if you've
Oh,
had a really chaotic day, what would that look like?
oh gosh. Well, I do have some highlights. But I think this is a crazy story. So I used to teach little ones, threes and fours and fives.
Mhm.
So when I taught fours and fives at a very tiny school, I had 10 kids in the class and I had them all sitting down at circle time. And all of a sudden I hear what sounds like water running in my classroom, which was strange because I didn't have a sink. And I looked over, and one of my little boys was going to the bathroom in my garbage can. And I was like, I don't even know what to
What
do.
to say?
What to say. Thank God all of my other kids were like so calm and so quiet. I was like, okay, go over here and play with the blocks. I have to handle this. And, I had to call the office. They had to come down and help me clean it up. Then it was a whole to do. I had to, have a meeting with the mom. But yeah, that was definitely one of the crazy, crazy situations that I've had in a classroom.
Oh. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. It made us
I don't
laugh.
know if that was the best story ever, but it was definitely a
No,
crazy
it's
story.
funny. Where do you get your inspiration from every day? What inspires you in your life?
I would say, my teacher, Mr. Bird, walking into my classroom every day, I think about my teacher, Mr. Bird, and he was really the reason I became a teacher. He was the first teacher that took an interest in me,
Mhm.
that, really wanted me to succeed, and I knew it. You know, I knew that he wanted me to succeed, wanted me to do well, and so I wanted to do well for him. And I want that for my kids. I want my students to know I want them to succeed and want to do well for themselves and for me and to make themselves proud and me proud. So that's sort of where my inspiration comes from.
What does a child looking successful look like to you? Like, what would they be doing for you to know that you've helped them to succeed?
Um, it varies from child to child,
Hmm.
depending on their ability level. But I think a child that, succeeding to me means they've either gotten a concept and they can show me through their reading, through their writing. Um, it can mean a child who doesn't like to participate, is very quiet and very shy, and you have those kids, and that's okay.
Hmm.
Starts raising their hand more and more because now they're comfortable in my classroom
Hmm.
and they want to answer the question. It can mean a child who is struggling with behavior issues, be it calling out, be it acting out, being disrespectful, makes that turnaround
Hmm.
and you can see it and you can honestly say to them, wow, I am really proud of you. You have made such big strides. I can see it in your behavior. I can see it in your writing. I can see it in your reading. That to me is success. A child who's just struggling with life, they've got a lot of issues going on, opens up to you and you can help them with those emotions. That to me is success.
Yeah, so if you had a difficult child in your classroom, and I'm not saying you do, I'm thinking like larger picture of
Mhm.
other either other teachers who have a difficult child in their classroom or even a parent who has a difficult child at home, like
Mhm.
acting, I don't know. But just say there's a difficult child. What would you say to that parent or that teacher to help them to better help a child to be successful?
I would say the most important thing is to make sure that that child knows they are loved by you and
Okay.
respected by you. Um, and it can, it does vary from child to child. Each child has their own needs. So
Yeah.
depending on the behavior, depending on the child,
Mhm.
um, would be how I handled it. If a child is being disruptive in my classroom, I might first email the parents and say, you know, I just wanted you to be aware that this is the behavior that I'm seeing. If it continues, I'm going to have to take, some other measures. In my school, in that case, it would be an infraction,
Uh-huh.
and 3 infractions equals a detention.
Yeah.
I very rarely, if ever, give out infractions.
Mhm.
Um, but I would email the parents first and say, listen, this is the behavior I'm seeing.
Mhm.
I am concerned. I'd like, I know he can turn it around. I know that, he can do better. Let's, work together. If you would like to meet, I'm available. Um, if the behavior is very extreme, I will send a very short email and say, I would like to meet with you. Here's when I'm available.
Mhm.
Please tell me when you can meet. And I won't really explain in the email. Um, and then at the meeting, I will say, unfortunately, this is the behavior I'm seeing on this date, and I will have documented it. And I'm
Mhm.
saying, this date I see this, on this date I see this. Here is the work, the quality of work that he's turning in. And, here I would also have a plan in place.
Mhm.
Here is what
Like
I think,
some solutions.
right.
Yeah.
Here is what I think would help him. Here is what I think the plan should be moving forward. Here's the steps I think we need to take to help him, through this. Because obviously parents, they don't want to hear that their child isn't successful or that their child is a disruption. No parent wants to hear that. I mean, it's just reality.
Right, because parents go home and celebrate when their child's not doing
Yeah,
what they're supposed to be doing. I'm
right.
being sarcastic.
Right. They want to hear your child is lovely and wonderful and,
Well,
a joy to have in class. But I
but the
think
truth too. They do want
right,
to know the truth too.
right.
Yeah.
But I think what helps in those situations where you do have to have that difficult conversation of,
Mm.
listen, I'm having trouble with your child, and here it is having that plan in place. Saying, listen, I know he can be successful. Here's how I want to help him be successful. Because I think if the parents can see that you want them to be successful and that you have a plan and you're not like, well, I don't know, here it is, that you are really willing to work with them, it helps and it changes the whole mindset.
Mhm. Would you recommend that same thing for teachers with overcrowded classrooms too? Like that have a really so I know right now you're in a private school, so your classroom numbers may be a little bit lower than some of the like major
Right.
public schools here in New York City. I don't know what the numbers are here, but for overcrowded rooms, would you make the same recommendations?
I would, and I know it's hard in an overcrowded crowded classroom to get to know every child
Mhm.
really well. Um, I think also in an overcrowded crowded classroom, that's where a behavior system
Yeah.
is really, really, really important. having those expectations every single day, having a system of rewards and consequences very, very clear so that there is not a volley back and forth. You did this, no, I didn't. Yada, da, 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 da.
Right.
Where you're engaging with the child. Here are my expectations. Here are the consequences. Here are the rewards. And, making it very clear from day one and then being very consistent about it. My classroom is very consistent. I very rarely change the routine in my classroom.
Mm-hmm.
My kids know they walk in, they write down their homework, we do grammar, we do spelling, we do reading, we do writing. Like, that's just what it is. And so there's no question what they should do when they walk in my room.
Mm-hmm.
So having that managed expectation of and routine, that's where kids thrive. They need that routine of um, of the classroom. And, you know, I think that will help in an overcrowded classroom as well as having a clear system, whatever that might be, whether it's red, green, and yellow cards. You start on green, you get 3 warnings, and then you're on yellow. You get 2 more warnings, you're on red, and here's the consequence.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing so much about your position and even your helpful hints and pointers for anybody who wants to be a teacher in the
Anytime.
future. I think it's great to know that that you could really share that information with other people and to help them to see in the future if they wanted to ever go down this career path or
Yeah.
anything what they would want to have in place to make it
Yeah.
really successful and a beautiful work of art as a job,
Yeah.
like to really have it be solid and grounded in what is best for the child and what is best to
Yeah.
support them in their education.
Yeah. I also follow a ton of teachers on Facebook and Instagram, and that's where I get some of my ideas from. What are other teachers doing? How
Right.
are other teachers handling this? And knowing that I'm not the only one is helpful. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not the only one that's dealing with this issue or that issue, and maybe I can try this to, manage this issue or that issue. Or, wow,
Mhm.
that was a really cool project. I want to see if I can do that in my classroom.
Yeah. Awesome. So you get inspiration from them too,
Yeah.
from your social media accounts and the people you're connected to on there.
Yeah.
Okay, on another note, what is one of your biggest challenges that you're facing right now, and how are you trying to overcome it?
Well, one of my biggest challenges is actually taking care of myself. I tend
Okay.
to be the one that says, "Oh, I've got to grade these papers. Oh, I've got to do this for school. Oh, the house needs to be cleaned. Oh, I've got to fold the laundry. Oh, I, have to email this and, on and the list goes on and on and on."
Right.
And I don't make that space to take care of myself, whether it's let me make a healthy dinner for myself, let me, work out, let me take 5 minutes to sit and meditate and pray, and spend that time with God. I just, I find that balance very hard. And I have been working hard to sort of find that balance to say, okay, the laundry doesn't need to be folded right now. If it sits on the couch for 2 days, unfold it, it's okay. And it's not the end of the world. Or, those papers can wait until tomorrow, to be graded, and things like that. And saying, I do need that 5-minute mental break, or I do
Mhm.
have the energy now. Let me go on a walk. Let me do a workout to make myself feel better and not feel guilty about it. Because if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of anyone else. I can't take care of
Right.
my husband. I can't take care of my students, and I can't take care of my house. So, really trying to make space, in my day and in my week for myself.
Great. What are concrete things you're doing right now? Like,
Um,
did you make a schedule for yourself?
I,
Did you put it on your calendar? Because I've heard that that's really important to do to actually make it happen.
I'm going to start doing that. I haven't. I
Okay.
actually, at the beginning of Lent, I actually put workouts up on the
Yeah.
calendar on the wall over there. And I was like, okay, every day I'm going to do this. And, I was good for about a week. And then again, life, I
Took
had this
over.
going on and that going on. And so I think after, 2 weeks of, oh, da, 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 and bouncing around, I was like, I've got to turn it around. And so I think, it is important to put it on a calendar, put it in my phone, something like that, but also to have someone to hold me accountable. So,
Right.
I told my husband, I'm like, listen, I might fight you and say, yeah, no.
You
Or I
might be
might
like,
be
let me
this,
go back to sleep. I don't want to get up right now to exercise, or
right,
I don't want to get up to
exactly,
do whatever it is for your self-care, like
right.
journaling
I'm,
or whatever.
I'm exhausted. I'm a this, I'm a that.
Hmm.
Um, I told, I was like, you have to really make sure I'm doing it, make sure that I am not getting into that hole of I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I'm exhausted, da, 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 da. And I think also what I'm going to try and do, which I didn't do, is really say, okay, at this time, like when I
Hmm.
walk in the door, I'm going to be in the door at this time. At this time, I'm going to go work out, or I'm going to sit and read for 20 minutes, or I'm going to
Right.
do whatever, and have a plan of what I'm going to do and not be like, well, I could do that, you know, really make a concrete. And now that I'm on spring break, I'll have time tomorrow to really sit down and be like, okay, what is feasible for me and what concrete steps I can take, okay, at this time, you know, and even if it's something like I have a free period and no one's in
Right.
my classroom from 12:45 to 1:30. Okay, I'm gonna close my classroom door. I'm gonna throw on my sneakers and I'm gonna do a half an hour workout in my classroom. And people might walk by and say she's crazy, but I've got my workout in.
Or you could do your reading then and then do your workout when you get home.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
either way, yeah, you could, yeah,
Exactly.
there's multiple ways you can work it. You just have to plan out your time. And I think you're right. Now that you're on break, you can evaluate like what your daily schedule looks like and how you want to change it and
Right,
make it what you really want it to be. Now that
right,
you're on break, you can think about that. And then
right,
once you go back, everything will be in the right place and ready to go.
right, exactly. And having that time and space to think about it is important.
Yeah. And then even if you started the steps, like say you decided at I don't know, 7:30 every night you're going to journal. If you started that during your break, it'd already be a habit in place before you go back.
Right,
Or
exactly.
whatever it is, journaling,
Exactly.
doing the dishes, I don't know, whatever you
Yeah.
want to do for that
No,
time.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
Yeah. Starting it now so that it becomes a habit when I'm back at work.
back in there, it'll just flow. You know,
Right.
not as difficult of a transition in
Exactly.
every area at one time.
Yeah.
Okay, if no, who is one person who has inspired you in your life beyond belief, and how have they inspired you? It can be somebody who is alive, it can be somebody who has died, or somebody who is a famous celebrity that you didn't actually get to meet yet, but maybe in the future.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Never
Uh,
know.
this is a hard one because I would have to say my mom and my sister. My sister inspires me. She's older. She's about, a little over 2 years older than me. And she is just the most amazing person. She is incredibly smart. She's a nurse anesthetist, got her master's in anesthesiology from Columbia, got her PhD while being pregnant and having twins, completed her PhD, is a mom, is a professor, works at the hospital once a week. I mean, just incredible and works really hard to balance it all out, to have time with her babies, to have time with her husband. Um, and one thing she, I think, is really good at is asking for help and knowing that she can't do it all and
Right.
she does need help. She has a nanny to help her during the day. My parents live out in California, about 15 minutes from her. And, it was something as simple. I was FaceTiming with my mom and she had the babies. She goes, yeah, they slept over last night because your sister wanted to work out this morning. It's something as simple as, yeah, I need to work out. I want to work out. So, Mom, I need your help. Can the twins, can I come and put them to bed up there and so I can go get my workout in? And knowing when to ask for that help and how to balance that and realize, like it's okay to say, yeah, I want to go work out. So I'm going to have my mom watch the kids, overnight so that I can get up in the morning and go work out and have that time for myself and take care of myself and balancing that help and that family life and everything is she's just incredible.
I love it. And it's hard. I mean, it's really hard to keep everything, whether you have children or whether you don't. It's really hard to keep everything flowing and really smooth and having it, yeah, really being able to do everything. I think
Yeah,
there's a lot that women are asked to do every single day, and not even just asked, it's expected. I mean, it's just
exactly.
flat out expected. And so to know when to say, okay, I may not be able to do all that you're asking me to do. I'm only
Right,
a human being, right? Or
right,
I actually do need somebody else's help with this. I can't possibly add more onto my plate, even
right,
though other people want me to. Or even just saying, like you were saying earlier, taking that time for yourself and saying, okay, this is my allotted time for me. No
right,
interruptions.
right,
It's mine. Okay. So, no, you don't get
right.
it. It's
Whatever
my
it might
time.
be. I need 10 minutes to lay in bed and close my eyes.
Right.
Whatever that might be.
Right.
This is my time. I no interruptions. I
Right.
need
Or even if it's like petting your dog, if you had a dog. I mean, like, this
right,
is time just
exactly.
for me to be with my dog right now. I just need this space for myself.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay. If there was one thing you would want every woman to know, what would it be? The one nugget that you would want to share with everyone, what would it be
It
and
would
why?
be it would be to love yourself and it's okay to not be okay. I think a lot of times we are our own worst critic.
Mhm.
I'm not pretty enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not a this. I'm not a that. I'm blah, 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 blah. And to accept yourself for who you are, accept yourself, flaws and all. You're a beautiful, wonderful person. And, God made you that way and you are perfect in his eyes. And, God loves you and you need to love yourself, especially if you want others to love and respect you. You need to love and respect yourself and, not want, what, not be walked over by people because if you don't love and respect yourself, someone may come along and, make you feel this big and you're like, well, that's okay. And it's not,
It's not
you
okay.
know,
Yeah.
you have to have that inner strength, that inner knowledge that you are enough. You are loved, you are good, you are beautiful. To turn to that person and say, no, you cannot treat me that way. And it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to be sad. There are going to be good things and bad things, happy times and sad times, and all of that. And that's okay. That's life. It happens, and it's not the end of the world, and you will get through it. It will someday, that sad, miserable, unhappy time will someday end, and you'll have a happy, wonderful time.
Right. There's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Okay. And a woman full of soul. What does a woman full of soul look like to you? If there's one word to define a woman full of soul, what would it be for you?
I would say faithful. I would
Okay.
say that would be my word.
Okay. What does that look like? What does faithful look like?
Well, first and foremost, she's faithful to God. She makes time and space in her day for God, whether it's through prayer, whether it's through reading a devotional or a passage in the Bible or something like that every
Mhm.
day, whether it's going to mass or temple or some type of religious service every day. She makes time and space in her day for God. Um, she is faithful to her family. You know, they are a priority.
Hmm.
Whether it's, hey, how you doing? Haven't heard from you in a while. Is everything okay? Happy birthday. How is your son or daughter, my cousin, my whatever, how are they doing?
Yes.
Checking in with them, staying in touch. Oh, you need me to do something for you. You need me to be there. Absolutely. I'll be there. Tell me when, tell me where, tell me what you need. Um, she's very faithful to her family and supports them and lifts them up and helps them in any way that she can. And she's also faithful to the people around her, her friends, her coworkers, the people in her life that she comes into contact every day, even if it's for 2 minutes at the checkout counter. She treats them with kindness, she treats them with respect. Um, and, if it's her friends, she checks in with them. Hey, haven't heard from you in a while. How's it going? When I last talked to you, you were struggling with whatever it might be. How's that going? For example, my friend, I know she was very, very nervous about a field trip she was going on and had been a very big stressor in her life. And it happened today. So on my way home from work, I called her up. She didn't answer her phone, but that was okay. Called her up and
You
said, hey,
tried. Yeah.
what's going on? Just want to, I was thinking about you all day. Hope the field trip was great. Whether I hear back from her or not, she knows that I was thinking about her.
Hmm.
And it's that kind of, being faithful to the people in your life, I think is very important, and to God first and foremost.
Well, thank you for sharing with us
Of
about
course.
what you think about all of these different awesome things in relation to women and living life and really living it to the fullest and um, full of spirit, really. Because really being a woman full of soul is having that spirit, to be faithful and
Yeah.
even to set boundaries like you were talking about, or to really give yourself to your job, if you're working a job, or giving yourself to whatever you're called to do every day, giving
Yeah.
yourself to your fullest in those moments. So thank you so much for
Of
sharing with us,
course.
and it's been a pleasure to have you on the show and to talk with you about all of these things. And thank you for all of your helpful hints and pointers for teaching and the teaching career and profession, and what that you really think that should concretely look like, in the classroom and outside of it too.
Of course.
Mm.
Anytime.
And so, everyone, that is the end of our episode this time for A Woman Full of Soul, and I will see you next time. So make sure you tune in again. Ciao.
Bye.